this achievement of the eradication of wild polio virus in Africa jealously.
A day of glory for Nigeria. WHO officially declares a polio-free status.
No more subsidies, either of set-top boxes or of signal carriage.
FG gets nod for new broadcast code as it insists private sector to fully drive digital switch-over process.
The only way to have peace is for communities themselves to agree to live with each other.
Truce for warring parties in southern Kaduna. Groups resolve to coexist in peace. Plus, a presidential commitment to quality life for the vulnerable actualized as a National Disability Commission takes off. Good evening. Welcome to the news tonight and congratulations to Nigeria and Nigerians on the nation's polio-free status. I'm Ienre and with me tonight is Dr. Guyemi in Lagos. It's now official. Nigeria is free of poliomyelitis. This followed the certification of wild polio virus eradication in the Africa region by the World Health Organization. In his reaction, President Muhammadu Buhari described the achievement as a personal fulfillment of his pledge not to bequeath a polio-endemic Nigeria to the next administration. State House correspondent Tuda Musambo has details.
The certification of wild polio virus eradication in Nigeria and indeed the Africa region followed field verification visits over the past year as well as critical analysis of the documentation of the polio surveillance, immunization and laboratory capacity presented by the affected countries. The historic event was part of the 70th session of the World Health Organization Regional Committee for Africa, held virtually.
Today, wild polio in Africa is gone.
I want to commend our African leaders, especially my own President, Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria, for his leadership.
President Muhammadu Buhari said the achievement coming at a time when the global community is battling COVID-19 strengthens his conviction that with the requisite political will, investments, strategies, as well as citizens' commitment, the curve of the epidemic can be flattened. The president was emphatic that he can affirm the commitment of all African leaders to this course of action.
We must guard this achievement of the eradication of wild polio virus in Africa jealously and ensure that we take all necessary steps to prevent a resurgence of this dreaded disease. This will require maintaining the highest quality of surveillance and sustaining population immunity through increasing routine immunization coverage and supplemental immunization activities. Let me assure the global community that Nigeria will sustain the momentum and leverage on the lessons learned from polio eradication to strengthen our health system, especially primary health care, and prioritize health security.
Nigeria, he said, used data systems, community engagement, and innovative technology to monitor and predict the occurrence of polio outbreaks. The president explained that these same skills and tools are being used to fight the COVID-19 pandemic.
I would like now to commend the hard work and resilience of health workers and volunteers across the region, ministers of health and other stakeholders such as political, traditional, religious, and community leaders who provided the required support and leadership. We must continue to invest in our health systems because healthy populations create wealthy nations. We must continue to build trust between government institutions, leaders, and citizens so that we can unite as a people and confront the health and socio-economic challenges we face together.
President Buhari, who congratulated Nigeria's African brothers for being triumphant in the war against poliomyelitis, however, said the hard work to sustain the success achieved requires even more dedication. African children, he said, must continue to be vaccinated as vaccines save lives. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
With me in the studio now is the Executive Director and CEO of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Favour, to talk about this new achievement. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, congratulations on the polio-free status of Nigeria and, of course, the continent, which actually is a joint effort of many stakeholders, I believe. What is the significance of this feat, and what, in your opinion, did we do right to get here?
I think it's massive. It's massive for all Nigerians, and it's massive for future Nigerians. But really, it is a clear indication of what we can achieve when we work together and focus on all the things that matter. Being very, very clear about what we want to do and really putting all the resources that are required to make sure that we deliver on those objectives. But for Nigerians, and eradicating polio, it's been a journey of so many leaders of the past, of people that worked very hard, people in the front lines that worked over nearly 3 decades. But for the final part of this journey, one thing that has stood out very clearly is the leadership provided by President Muhammadu Buhari. In 2016, we went almost 2 years without a single case of white polio virus. Then we had reports of 4 white polio viruses in Borno. That was a setback, a huge setback to the polio eradication program. But Mr. President stood up, did 3 very, very important things that really changed the complexion of polio eradication in Nigeria. Number 1, he provided the leadership and motivated health workers. He called the Federal Ministry of Health and said, you must not give in to despair.
Okay. You
must go out and search for more viruses. I'm sure there are more. And true to it, we did find more after we went back and searched. Secondly, he provided the resources, an unprecedented 9.8 billion naira, and say, go make sure that the resources are provided all across the country, not just in Borno State, but all across the country. Make sure that we look everywhere and we're sure that we don't have viruses circulating anywhere. Then thirdly, he demonstrated as a father, as a grandfather, by having his granddaughter vaccinated as well.
To show example to other people.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. So it means we should be thanking the president for this feat.
Without a shadow of doubt.
All right. Now, considering the fact that routine immunization in the country is not yet at the desirable level, especially maybe in IDPs and rural areas, what do we do to sustain this status? So,
using polio structures, what we've done is to use the same platform to now, in an unprecedented way, increase routine immunization. In the last 3 years, from 2016 to 2017, when an independent survey was done, only 33% of children in Nigeria were covered by routine immunization antigens. By the last survey that was done in 2019, we've more than doubled it. Now, Penta-3 coverage, which is the indicator used, is 71%. That is massive. That talks about the leadership provided by the Royal Minister of Health, Dr. Ienre, in making sure that he advocated to the governors, and the governors, under the remit of the Nigeria Governors Forum, have been up and doing, providing the resources, providing the leadership. The leadership provided by Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Mr. Bill Gates, has been very, very massive.
It looks like a lot of people actually should be celebrating, this status that we have in the country at the moment. Okay, now let's talk about other preventable diseases. I agree that, I think that a lot of facilities are being put in place to ensure that, other preventable diseases are eradicated. What should we be doing so that we can have the same status as far as polio is concerned?
So first and foremost, we have to not only sustain what we've already done, but we have to improve on it. By increasing routine immunization to 71% within such a short period, we're optimistic that we're going to outperform expectations, outperform historical expectations, because what history shows us is that we probably will not reach 80%, 85% until 2028. But given what we've done in the last 3 years, we feel pretty confident that within the next 3 years maximum, we should be hitting 90%.
Okay.
Now, if we're able to get 90%, then we'll be able to stop infectious diseases, vaccine-preventable diseases. And this is where the leadership provided by the Sultan of Sokoto, who leads the Nigerian Traditional Leaders Committee on Polio Eradication and Primary Healthcare, is very, very critical.
Okay, thank you. You have also not thanked the parents who have been taking out their children for immunization.
Frontline workers, parents, guardians.
All right.
All of them, it's a joint effort, and we should be very proud as Nigerians today.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Favour, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege.
Congratulations once again. All right. Talks in Mali aimed at resolving the political situation in the aftermath of last week's coup have ended without agreement. The country's new military leaders and West African mediators wrapped up days of talks without settling on how to return to civilian rule. The leader of ECOWAS delegation, former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, revealed that President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta says he was not forced to resign and does not want to go back to power. He said the issue of lifting the sanctions was discussed by both parties and promised to make the points during an extraordinary summit of the heads of states and government of ECOWAS, which should hold on Wednesday. The Malian junta promised to release the other personalities arrested, depending on the security situation in the country. And back home, President Muhammadu Buhari says the prevailing challenges of nation building notwithstanding, considered efforts have been made by his administration towards sustaining Nigeria's position as profitable investment destination. He therefore told the new envoys posted to Nigeria to encourage potential investors from their respective countries to take advantage of the unequal incentives in critical economic sectors, especially the large market and flexible tax system to invest in the country. This was while receiving letters of credence from the envoys, as State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The forecourt of the State House, Nigeria's seat of government, comes alive for the first time since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in February this year. A befitting diplomatic welcome was put together by officers and soldiers of the Presidential Guards Brigade in honor of the new ambassadors and high commissioners posted to Nigeria. They are Hyacinth Latil of Algeria, Luang Thing of Vietnam, Benson Alfred Bana of Tanzania, and Traore Kalilu of Cote d'Ivoire. The rest were Abubakar Saleh Chahaimi of the Republic of Chad, Jamal Muhammad Barrow of Somalia, Brahim Saleh El Mami Busaif of Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, and Mohammed Ali Bak of Iran. President Muhammadu Buhari, who welcomed the envoys as they formally assume official responsibilities in the country, said Nigeria does not divide its partners into big and small.
We value and respect every country, and with every country we are ready to pursue dialogue as well as build cooperation on the basis of equality and constructive mutual respect. These include our cooperation in strengthening regional, continental, and global peace, security, resolving complex issues, settling conflicts, as well as addressing dangerous threats to mankind, among which include terrorism, proliferation of small arms and light weapons, human trafficking, cyber crimes, poverty, communicable diseases, and epidemics.
He also told the envoys that joint action will be strongly supported by Nigeria towards ensuring a democratic and fair world order based on strict respect for the norms of international law, cultural diversity, national sovereignty, and the right of all countries to freely decide their future without external pressure.
In our efforts to achieve a realistic domestic and sovereign policy, as well as national development, we have identified 9 priority areas to guide our policy directions over the next few years. The 9 priority mandates are reflected in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, a medium-term initiative pioneered by our government to restore economic growth and development while leveraging the resourcefulness and the resilience of the people of Nigeria, the nation's most prized asset.
The priority areas enumerated by the President includes building a thriving and sustainable economy, enhancing social inclusion, attaining energy sufficiency, improving security for all, and building a system to fight corruption, improve governance, and create social cohesion. Ambassador Haisel Latil of Algeria, who spoke on behalf of the envoys, acknowledged Nigeria's position as giant of Africa and promised to work individually and collectively towards enhancing cooperation and seeking advancement in mutual areas of interest between Nigeria and their respective countries. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And still in the State House, President Muhammadu Buhari has promised his administration's continued support to the genuine efforts by Zamfara state government to restore sanity and the desired impetus in the exploitation and exploration of the abundant solid mineral potential in the state. Receiving the governor of the state, Bello Muhammad Metawali, the president expressed the belief that if illegal mining activities are checked, security and socio-economic development will be enhanced in the state. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
Governor Bello Muhammad Metawali, accompanied by one Bashir Hadeja, was in the State House to show President Muhammadu Buhari bars of gold and other precious stones mined in the state. The products, he said, were acquired directly from artisanal miners as part of efforts to check illegal mining activities in the state.
And some people from outside the country used to come to the state and buy gold and other precious stones from all these small-scale miners. I make my investigation, which make me to make the state government to be engaging the miners so that we shall be buying the golds from them, so that we can, block that chain. I come to show him what the state government has already procured from the miners, from those people in the bush. So he has seen what we have. We have so many cages of gold in Zamfara state. He's very happy with the system that we initiated, and he said whatever support the state government need, the private government is ready to assist us. In fact, he has been given directives to the Minister of Solid Minerals to work with the state government.
In fact, Governor Bello Muhammad said 3 days back, large deposits of gold have been discovered in the state, and the villagers are trooping in thousands to the sites for illegal mining activities.
So I come to get some advice from Mr. President on how best we are going to tackle the issue of this illegal mining, which we have discussed, and he gave me all the support.
Discussions with the President also centered on, amongst others, how Zamfara State can benefit from the presidential artisanal gold mining initiative, as well as the security situation in the state.
The security are doing their best. I equally advise Mr. President that those that are calling for cycling of security is not the solution. They should think of the best way to support the security so that they can perform better.
The governor, who commended the president for his intervention towards the restoration of normalcy in the state, however, maintained that governors have crucial roles to play in supporting efforts at securing lives and property of their people. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
You're watching the network news at 9 on NTA. Peace in the horizon for southern Kaduna. Details in the second part of tonight's news. Do stay.
Welcome to Glo's new data plans with night browsing bonus. Dial *777#. Glo Unlimited.
For over 70 years, we've protected our homes against germs together. And now is no different. So let's disinfect and protect our floors and surfaces every day. Dettol. Protect what's worth fighting for.
At Elizade Autoland, we don't just sell quality, we build quality. JAC Motors, assembled in Nigeria by Elizade Autoland. is increasing high demand for fleets of JAC motor brands by members of the public and private sectors. JAC motors are clearly built with one purpose in mind. They are built to serve. Elizade Autoland, sole distributor of JAC motors in Nigeria.
Kids, grown-ups, it doesn't matter. Have a cup of peak chocolate anytime and enjoy the delicious nourishment of chocolatey goodness. Peak. Reach for your peak.
For over 70 years, we've practiced healthy hygiene habits together. The world needs us to keep our fight going against germs. So let's wash our hands for 20 seconds regularly. Dettol. Protect what's worth fighting for.
Thank you for staying. The federal government says it will pursue a fully private sector-driven digital switchover as there will be no subsidies for set-top boxes or for signal carriage. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed disclosed this at a meeting with stakeholders in the DSO process in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
The enthusiasm that trailed the launch of the digital switchover in Jos, the Plateau State capital, in 2016, then Abuja, followed by Kwara, Kaduna, Enugu and Osogbo, left no one in doubt that the project was on course.
In Abuja, as of today, on the analog platform, you have NTA Abuja, you have ITV, you have STV, you have Channels TV, you have AIT.
However, following the stalling of the launch in other states, the availability of free TV brand under which the DSO is being delivered across the country gives hope that a lot can still be achieved. It is in the light of this that Lai Mohammed told the meeting that the process to acquire the much needed funds to fast-track the DSO project and pay off all outstanding debts are in top gear to motivate stakeholders to resume the rollout, which has a huge economic benefits to Nigerians.
We are at high-level talks with the Federal Ministry of Finance, and we are also putting finishing touches to a memo we plan to send to the Federal Executive Council as part of our relentless efforts to secure the funds to restart the process. And we are very optimistic that our efforts will pay off very soon. While looking for funds to pay outstanding debts and restart the process, I want to put it on record here that we'll be pursuing a full private sector-driven DSO, and there will be no more subsidies, either of set-top boxes or of signal carriage.
On audience measurement to drive advertisement, the minister said a process in that direction is already in place, which will go a long way in driving advert spending to the DSO platforms and channels to help fulfill obligations to signal distributors.
This meeting must come up with a strategic plan for a resumed rollout, with an express commitment to continue with the process until every state has been covered.
Key issues discussed include DSO indebtedness, funding, as well as rollout time. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Indigenous operators and cable TV dealers have commended the federal government for the new broadcasting code that puts an end content exclusivity and monopoly in the sector. The group was at the Nigerian Television Authority NTA Network Center, Port Harcourt, where it presented a thank you letter for onward transmission to the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, for the proactive reform. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
According to the amended Nigerian Broadcasting Code, rights owners to live foreign sporting events shall offer the rights to broadcasters on different platforms in Nigeria. This is intended to end monopoly and ensure competition in the broadcast industry.
When that exclusivity is broken, with your 1,500 or even 500 naira, you'll be able to view football matches.
The operators and dealers who were at NTA Port Harcourt Network Center bearing placards with different inscriptions commended the government's initiative.
Since October last year to today, these Nigerian cable operators are not operating because the foreigners are using our own people against us. We are happy because the Honorable Minister and the MBC as a body has come to hear our cry.
What we have in Nigeria in the past 20 years has been a dominant player that was there, don't want any other person to come.
Key concerns to the group are job losses, increase in paid TV subscription, capital flights, and humiliation of indigenous operators by their foreign counterparts.
Come 1st of September, for you to watch ordinary premiership, you will spend 24,000 naira.
Zonal Director, NTA Port Harcourt Network Center, Bozede Adebayo, who received the thank you letter, promised to deliver it promptly.
I promise you that this letter will get to the table of the Honorable Minister.
The group also visited Radio Nigeria Treasure FM's office in Port Harcourt, where they also conveyed similar message to the government. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
In other news, more government revenue-generating agencies have appeared before the Senate Committee on Finance and National Planning to explain their expenditures and what they will contribute to the 2021 fiscal year. Chairman of the committee told the agencies to prepare to sacrifice some of their expenditures for this purpose. John Yaku has details.
The public hearing for federal government revenue-generating agencies is for them to present to the committee what they generated, expended and remitted to the consolidated account of the Federation in the past and what they will contribute next year. Those with revenue base to sustain themselves but still in the budget were asked to consider forfeiting their overhead, personnel and recurrent expenditures in the national budget. One of those willing to do this is the oil and gas free trade zones.
We will go out of the budget in the area of salaries because already we were already paying 50% of our salaries. Yes, sir. Will you take you out on salaries? Overheads, we like. Overhead? Yes. But you see, capital is tricky.
Other agencies were asked to do same, as this will help them create new revenue sources to meet their expenditures.
If you have revenue, you want to keep your revenue and still feed it, because this deficit we are talking, financing, is in that same budget we are expecting, which many of these agencies want to take from again. For now, you must take one.
Lagos International Trade Fair submitted that it remitted all its IGR from 2018 to date to the consolidated account, but the committee insisted on confirmation by the Auditor General of the Federation. Director General of NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, who also appeared, noted that NTA can compete with other media organizations in all spheres.
Change the mandate of the NTA. If the mandate of the NTA is changed, but so long as we leave NTA as a public broadcaster, the problem will still linger. Every institution, every agency will see NTA as a government agency that they can come, get whatever they want, free of charge.
Other agencies have been asked to submit their details to the Office of the Accountant General and Auditor General of the Federation for further scrutiny. 50 agencies are scheduled to appear before the committee. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
A 3-day capacity building workshop for technical working groups for a national development plan has begun in Abuja. The workshop aims at facilitating the achievement of the medium-term National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 and the National Agenda 2050. Chimobi Walter Unaji reports.
The global economic shutdown has triggered efforts by various governments to rethink their macroeconomic framework to deal with emergent challenges posed by the global pandemic. Now, recently, the National Bureau of Statistics released a GDP figure of -6.10% for the second quarter of 2020. Though minimal compared to other countries, this has prompted Nigeria's efforts to build the capacities of the secretariat heads of the technical working groups for the medium-term National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 and the National Agenda 2050 through this workshop.
This way, we would have a truly Nigerian National Development Plan, and not a plan of the federal government of Nigeria. In order to have a very robust outcome, it was thought wise to build the capacity of the major drivers of the process, as the roles of technical working group anchors and heads of secretariat are critical towards the development of the plans.
We have not only included a review of past national development plans and an introduction to understanding the macroeconomic framework for the creation of a midterm national development plan, but also technical lectures on the development planning process, the institutional arrangements for an effective plan implementation, as well as a number of introductions to effective management approaches.
Participants are expected at the end of the training to help the country in changing its growth trajectory positively, having gone through various development programs. In Abuja, Chimobi Walter Naji, NTA News.
And away from the economy, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development says the presidential assent to the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Act 2019, which provides for the establishment of the National Disability Commission, is another proof of the federal government's commitment and desire to improve the quality of life of vulnerable groups in Nigeria and ensure they enjoy their full rights and privileges as citizens of Nigeria. The minister expressed appreciation to President Buhari for the approval and appointment of the executive members of the commission and charged the appointees to carry out their responsibilities with due diligence after they must have been confirmed by the Senate. Similarly, the Center for Citizens with Disabilities has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his recent approval of the composition of the Governing Council and appointment of Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. A statement by the Executive Director of the Center for Citizens with Disabilities, David Ienre, described the composition of the Commission's board as a clear statement that the federal government of Nigeria has commenced full implementation of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018, also known as the National Disability Act. The group called for appropriate steps to capture the budget of the Commission and the 2021 appropriation to avoid financial hiccups in the takeoff of the Commission. Similarly, the founder of the Albino Foundation, Jake Epeli, who was happy with the landmark feat, urged the newly constituted council to work towards uplifting the plight of persons with disabilities. Now talking security, representatives of Fulani, Hausa and Atiab communities in Zagon Kataf local government area of Kaduna State have presented a peace document endorsed by the parties on Southern Kaduna crisis to Governor Nasiru Ahmed El-Rufai, symbolizing their commitment to peaceful coexistence. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports.
The presentation of these documents opens a new chapter in the pursuit of peace in a community that has experienced a series of attacks and counterattacks over the years. Leaders of the three main groups, Fulani, Hausa and the Atia, brought together their people a few days ago to a town hall meeting and finally came up with this peace pact, agreeing to put behind the past and devise amicable ways of resolving disputes henceforth.
We realize also that starting point is to work on our youth. We have started sensitizing them, and we intend to go down to the roots to sensitize them the more.
A Impressed by the initiative, Governor Nasru Ahmad El-Rufai agreed to fulfill some of their recommendations, which include gainfully engaging the youth in small-scale businesses, rehabilitation of schools, and the General Hospital Zango.
The only way to have peace is for communities themselves to agree to live with each other peacefully, and in the event of any differences, report to authorities, from the RO to the village head to the district head to the Abuja. There are levels of leadership that if you have a problem, you can report to. You can report to the police, you can report to civil defense. What you don't do is to take the law into your own hands, because that is criminal.
The prayers and hope by these elders is for all the parties to respect the peace path and maintain harmonious coexistence. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Marajingi, NTA News.
And still on security, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Duli has launched another major onslaught against elements of the Islamic State of West Africa province, ISWAP, operating in some island settlements of the Lake Chad in the northern part of Borno State, killing ISWAP leaders and scores of their fighters. In a statement, Coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Ienre, said the missions were conducted on the heels of credible human intelligence reports. Accordingly, the Air Task Force dispatched an enhanced force package of Nigerian Air Force, fighter jets and helicopter gunships to attack the Sabon Tubun and Kerta Wulgo, the two locations harboring the terrorists, scoring devastating hits, leading to the elimination of several of them. Prominent terrorist leaders, including Abu Imrana, ISWAP naval commander, as well as Malam Ibrahim and Malam Abba, are believed to be among the many ISWAP casualties. The community policing efforts of the Nigeria Police continues to receive support from governments, corporate bodies and private individuals. Francis Form reports that the Nigeria Police has again been presented with 3 locally manufactured D12 series double cabin pickup and SUV vehicle.
The presentation of these locally manufactured vehicles, the police force agrees, will enhance operational capacity in combating banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery, and other forms of crime.
We want to assure you that we are going to use those vehicles judiciously. We use it, this is what we call Nigerian's contest. The vehicles are made here, are produced here, and we're using them here. Knowing the rugged terrains we have, and definitely is going to be of importance to Nigerian police.
It's part of our communal support and building the bridges that connect us in making sure that the country is in peace. We'll continue to partner with Nigerian Police Force in making sure that the entire nation enjoys maximum security of lives and properties.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has reassured Nigerians that the statutory entry requirements into the Nigeria Police Force remain sacrosanct and will be thoroughly followed in the ongoing recruitment screening exercise. In Abuja, Francis Form, NTA News.
And on the global health challenge, the World Health Organization declares decline in COVID-19 infections as Gaza reports first infection among the public. Over now to Uche Ogochukwu for the global update on COVID-19 pandemic.
The World Health Organization says although COVID-19 pandemic is still spreading, the rise in cases and deaths has declined globally, except for Southeast Asia and the Eastern Mediterranean regions. Its latest epidemiological update reveals America remains the hardest hit region. Meanwhile, 23,901,407 people have been infected with coronavirus globally, and 819,220 died, according to Johns Hopkins University Coronavirus Resource Center as at 6:30 p.m. local time. A 48-hour lockdown is in force across Gaza Strip after the first infections were recorded among the public. Argentina reported a record 8,713 new cases and 381 deaths in 24 hours. South Korea on Tuesday ordered most schools in Seoul and surrounding areas to close and move classes back online after the country's Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported 280 new coronavirus cases, and the Philippine Health Ministry confirmed 2,965 additional infections and 34 more deaths. Down to Africa, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, as at Monday, confirmed 321 new cases of COVID-19 from 23 states and the Federal Capital Territory. This brings the total confirmed cases to 52,548, 39,257 discharged, and 1,004 deaths. South Africa experienced decline from a peak of about 15,000 daily infections in July to just over 1,600 in the past 24 hours. And Africa now has 1,201,010 positive cases, from which 28,070 died. That's it on the global coronavirus update. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Many thanks, Uche. Let's now take a trip to Lagos, where Dotun will feed us with more news.
Thank you, Ienre. The Lagos State government has reiterated its commitment to redefining delivery of quality education in tertiary institutions through the deployment of technology and human resource management. The governor made the commitment during the swearing-in of new governing councils for the 4 state-owned tertiary institutions. Nosa Usla reports.
Professor Gbolahan Elias becomes the new pro-chancellor for the Lagos State University, and Professor Rashid Ojikutu assumes the position of the chairman, Governing Council of Lagos State Polytechnic, LASPOTECH. For Adeniran Ogunsanya College of Education, Professor Nuruddin Olashupo chairs the new governing council, while Sekinat Yusuf chairs that of the Michael Otedola College of Primary Education.
Technology, it's a way to go. It's a new normal. It's one of the things that will determine the future all of us are looking. And so as a state government, we're currently doing what we call a 6,000, a first phase of 3,000 citywide metropolitan fiber optics that we're deploying to ensure that not only does Lagos remain a smart city, our educational institutions, our tertiary educational institutions will be a place for reference.
The governor maintained that the newly appointed governing council members had been carefully identified based on their individual track records in their respective professional fields, adding that he had no doubts about their capacity to move tertiary education in Lagos State to greater heights. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
The use of liquefied petroleum gas, also known as domestic gas, is gaining more popularity among Nigerian women because it is cheaper than using kerosene and higher in performance. However, the quest to use it more has exposed the product to unwholesome practices. Adeola Komiakire witnessed the destruction of seized substandard gas cylinders and other products by law enforcement agents in Lagos.
These are liquefied petroleum gas cylinders seized at the point of entry into the country from Turkey and China. They may look brand new and fit for use, yet hazardous to consumers. These pressure vessels have failed the various parameter tests conducted on them and therefore not suitable for domestic use.
As the temperature rises, the pressure inside the cylinder also rises. And the person, even in the retail shop, might not know that there are internal things, pressure. The pressure inside is being built up. He might not notice it, and what you will see is explosion.
The agency also impounded 1,000 bundles of galvanized roofing sheets and 15 bundles of aluminium coil, tested and found to be far below the approved standard of 0.15 milliliter minimum thickness.
And apart from the thickness, the mass coating is also a key parameter.
Mascoting, if it's not adequate, you use it for 6 months, 1 year, it will start changing color.
And if this go to market, they are injurious to the end users.
The destruction of these seized counterfeit products again calls the attention of Nigerians to desist from patronizing unwholesome retail points to prevent untimely death and property loss. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Let's now take a break. Network News will be back with more reports.
Welcome to Glo's new data plans with night browsing bonus. Dial *777#. Glo Unlimited. Panadol Extra, now also available in a 4-tablet strip at 50 naira only. Panadol Extra, now also available in a 4-tablet strip at 50 naira only. Panadol Extra, now also available in a 4-tablet strip at 50 naira only.
We keep it moving. We going straight to the top, like it or not. We tell them haters, this is war. Slowing down and making a stop. We waiting to drop. Do us a favor.
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Going straight to the top, like it or not. We tell them haters,
I'm the boss.
Slowing down and making a stop. We waiting to drop. Do us a favor. We keep it moving.
She cries. She cries in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry means nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she's left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their cruelty. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Glad to have you back. The FCT administration has, as part of strategy to reposition for efficient and effective service delivery, held a seminar on national strategy on public service reforms for its management staff today. Shaibu Onaze Yakubu reports that the seminar was organized by the FCT Department of Reform Coordination and Service Improvement in collaboration with the Bureau of Public Service Reforms.
This seminar on national strategy on public service reforms, put together by the Reform Coordination and Service Improvement Department, is to rebuild public confidence in governance to enhance service delivery.
Public service is enormous responsibility that requires honesty and trust. That is very important, and also protecting the integrity, the privacy, and the lives and families of public officers.
The creation of the Reform Coordination and Service Improvement Department in the FCT administration, therefore, is not only in tandem with the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation's request, it is a part of the internal efforts to reposition the administration for efficient and effective service delivery.
We would like to draw the attention of all other federal
agencies to emulate the good precedent set up by the FCT administration.
Stakeholders from the National Assembly, Department for International Development, DFID, among other partners, are of the opinion that the reform will reduce duplications and promote transparency in governance. The Department of Reform Coordination and Service Improvement is saddled with the responsibilities of coordinating the change agenda of the FCT administration in line with service policies and standards. Shuaibu Onozeaku, NTA News.
The Supreme Court has fixed August 31 to deliver judgment in the appeal brought before it by the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Musa Wada, and his party, PDP, challenging the re-election of Governor Yahya Bello of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in the November 16, 2019 governorship election in the state. Judiciary correspondent Ienre, who was at the Supreme Court, now reports.
On the 23rd of May, the Kogi State governorship election, which started in Abuja in a split decision of 2-1, reaffirmed Ienre declaration and returned Yahya Bello as validly elected governor of Kogi State. The tribunal also resolved 4 other petitions in his favor. Dissatisfied with the decision of the tribunal, the 4 parties approached the Court of Appeal, and the court also dismissed the appeal. The 3 appeals were filed by the People's Democratic Party, Social Democratic Party, and Democratic People's Party. The PDP is insisting that its candidate Musa Wada won the November 16th governorship election. The appellant had claimed that the election which brought in Yahya Bello as the governor of Kogi State was marred by serious irregularities. In their brief of argument, counsel to the appellant, Jibril Okutakbe, SAN, urged the court to allow the appeal, while the respondent counsels Joseph Daudu and Abubakar opposed the application and urged the court to dismiss the appeal with substantial cost. The 7-man panel of justices led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, after listening to the submission of the counsels, dismissed the appeal filed by the Democratic People's Party for being a mere academic exercise and awarded a cost of 200,000 naira against the party.
We have done what we need to do. Appeal has been adjourned, so we leave the rest for their lordships to do what they needed to do.
All the parties have adopted and argued their cases.
The lower courts had, in a concurrent judgment, dismissed the appeal for failure to prove the allegations of electoral malpractices. In Abuja, Ienre, NTA News.
Time for another break. Sports and more when we return.
The death has been announced of Honorable Justice Elder Edith Robert Nkop, OFR, Akwa Ibom State Chief Judge, retired. This sad event occurred on 11th of June 2020 at the age of 84. Burial takes place on Friday 28th August 2020 at his hometown in Iko in Ibesipo Asutan local government area of Akwa Ibom State after a valedictory court session. Time 10 a.m. He is survived by a wife, 5 children and 14 grandchildren. May his gentle soul rest in peace. Signed, Abasiekong Edet Nkop, MNIA.
Let's now have a bit of sports with Tamara Obiwe as our guide.